Peoples of the universe, please attend carefully. The message that follows is vital to the future of you all.
And what could that message be? What could that message be? That message is, I've really got to make some more intros. I've really got to make some more intros. I got to do like a comic specific one. I got to do like comics key one. But yeah, that one kind of works. And already we have, what's it, Cole? God, what's your last name? I can't remember. Mary's boys, yeah, in the chat. How are you? Thank you for coming on by. I have a guest today. I'm so excited to talk to. Because I'm so excited for her book. I first saw it like knocking around. Must be a month or two ago. I saw the cover. I thought that was interesting. That looked interesting. And then when I started looking at it, it looks absolutely fantastic. And it must be absolutely fantastic because it's done just phenomenally. It's done phenomenally. I hope this is going to do, it's only made a teeny tiny part of what it's going to make. I hope it gets back 10 times more than it is now because it really deserves it. It's an absolutely fantastic book. So I'm going to be talking to the I think the writer. I don't know anything. See, here, there's two ways of going into an interview. Okay, there's two ways. There's the proper way. There's the professional way, where you research heavily. And you have a good idea of who it is that you're going to be talking to. That's really the way that you should do it. Or you can do it the way I do it, and I walk in going, I don't know anything, so I've got plenty to talk to. I just found out the name of the book. I guess it's Osher. Osher is here with us to talk about her wonderful book, Charlie's London. Osher, how are you? Thank you for coming on. So nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's cool. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. So look, what I normally do with these little chats is we start talking about comics. We talk about obviously you have a love of comics because you've made a truly beautiful one. Now, did you wrote it or did the art or both?
No, I've wrote it. I wrote it. I'm the writer and the editor of this book.
Well, listen, if it's an indie book, you're writer, editor, and everything in between. Normally, I completely understand. Is this the first book you've done?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
I'd say it looks freaking marvelous. So, how did you tell us your story about comics? How did you get into comics?
I've looked at comics and read them and appreciated them since I was a child. So, and I think what drew me to Comicsgate and drew me to sort of wanting to make a difference when it comes to comics was that I was seeing the decline in what I considered to be a truly beautiful art form. And growing up with them as I did with Marvel, with DC, and then just seeing the medium that I loved wasn't quite what it used to be. I think I felt that it was a fantastic, it was a fantastic thing to sort of get into, and comics I think mean more than just illustrated pages. They're actually they're showcases of stunning artwork, showcases of great writing, and to write a comic is a truly unique experience because you don't write it like you write anything else, because you have to remember to balance the dialogue in the story with the images that's going on. I mean, writing the script for this comic was something like I've never done before, because you have to remember that you can't take for granted what the audience is going to see. You need to almost explain literally everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, so like where did you grow up?
Oh, I grew up in South London. I was born in Kennington, same
right.
as Chaplin. And I moved when I was sort of a teenager to Kent, where my parents now live, but technically where they live is still classed as South London. And,
right. I'm on the other end of the line. I'm on not anymore. I've lived in London for 20 years, but I was on like the other end of right at the end of the Northern Line, and then you needed another 20-minute bus. Right? That's also on the other side of London to you.
I roughly know where you were. Yeah. Yeah. So it's been. I've grown up with quite an eclectic family as well. My dad being Turkish, my mum being English, but my mum being Farsi Jewish descent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's got to be confusing.
It very, very much so. They went to Israel on a cruise about 10 years ago, and my dad and my mum both loved it for so many different reasons. But my mum was like, technically, you know, we're quite amazing because we've got someone that's Jewish and someone that's Muslim that's been married for 40 years. I was like,
Well,
yeah.
I tell you, that's kind of I mean, up until I don't know, like the current era, that was really kind of more normal. People weren't really looking so much at, you know, these things that really shouldn't matter, right? You know, people are people.
It's true. My dad says the same thing because my dad's from Cyprus, and obviously, like the war that happened in Cyprus in the 70s, he said, but before that, and there was a lot of, in all honesty, people stirring the pots on both sides. He said people lived quite harmoniously together.
Right. Exactly.
My grandmother speaks Greek as well as she speaks Turkish, and she reads Arabic. So, yeah, it's like you say, it's really only people kicking the hornet's nest in probably the last
you want to know the really bizarre thing, the really truly bizarre thing. The two groups in the world that actually agree on theology, really they pray to the same God, are Muslims and Jews, right?
It's true.
Exactly. We believe it's the same person, right? We say this going to and like I don't know what to tell you. People get crazy.
Well, yeah, I was having this because I'm a history teacher when I'm not writing a comic. Right. And when I was talking to some of the kids at school, I was saying to them, they asked me like, Miss, what do you believe? And I said, well, the way I've grown up, I've sort of my dad always had the attitude that if you're a good person, no matter who's up there, you're going to get in, no matter really what faith you follow. And then they were asking me about Jesus, and I went, well, this is the really interesting thing because both sides of my family believe that he was a prophet, but not the Son of God.
Right.
It doesn't really matter which side I decide to fall on.
Well, you know what? I think you probably say you know, in whichever direction that you were going. 1 second, the audio might double. 1 second. I'm just making sure that we're live. Let me just clear the audio because it's really weird. Normally it says like it gives me a time that we've been online for, and right now it's not. It's not giving me that little clock in the corner, which is really odd. So now I've got a little ad going on. I want to see if there's.
No,
oh no, we're there. Absolutely. Okay, that's good. Fine. We're definitely live. Fine. So, what was it that drew you to Charlie Chaplin?
Growing up, my nan loved his films. My mum loved his films, and I was watching. He was always sort of there, like Christmas. We'd always have the Gold Rush on. I remember seeing the kids so many times when I was little. Right. And then as the Robert Downey Jr. film come out, I remember watching it with my grandmother, and she was really the bit in the pub when he has the beer thrown over him. She was really adamant that wouldn't have happened, that people didn't feel that way. But she was very adamant about it. So it got me thinking, well, why is she so adamant? And it turns out that, you know.
I should tell you, I've never seen the movie. I've only seen the trailer, and that looked awesome. And I've always wanted to see it. So tell you what was the scene? Explain it to me.
He comes back to London in 1921, and obviously the First World War's happened. And he's in the pub, and these men throw a pint of beer over him and call him a coward. And she was, because he never fought, but she was very, that wouldn't have happened. But she got me so interested in why she was so passionate about it. And it was two reasons. One was because people in South London still treated him like he was the boy that done good. He was a homegrown hero. And many people had stories about knowing his mum, knowing his dad, seeing his dad because his dad was a performer on the stage in London, seeing him perform, so it's his mum. But what it was with my family was Chaplin ended up in a boys' home in 1895, 1896, when he was about 6 years of age. And so did my great-great-uncle. And
really? Not the same one.
The same one. They're sat
out of here. Really? That's incredible. Okay.
They're sat 2 rows from each other in this photo, Hanwell Boys' School, and they're sat 2 rows from each other. And so they never grew up together. It wasn't like they knew each other. But obviously this story of, that little boy, he was in the same workhouse as like my relative and whatever. So it's always been something that I think my family held on to and was quite proud of in a weird way. Right. Because what used to happen is people don't realise sometimes these children, it wasn't like poorhouses weren't like orphanages. The kids didn't just get dumped there and then adopted. What happened a lot of the time, and it happened with Charlie and his mum and his brother Sydney, was that Hannah, his mum, couldn't afford to look after them. Their father had left. They had no money, so she put herself in a woman's workhouse, and she sent the boys in there. And when she could afford to have them again, she took them out. There wasn't a welfare state. It wasn't like now.
Right. Yeah, no, okay. I know what you mean. Fine.
And she did go and collect her boys. There wasn't any sort of social services either. Well, there was, but not like now. And there was no issue with her getting her boys back, because as far as they were concerned, she'd got them back. Like, she'd done what she needed to, and she got them back. And but then she ends up in a mental hospital because she develops a really severe case of neurosis, and she pretty much stays in and out of there until the 20s, when Charlie, when he's a millionaire, sends over to the States, so from the States, and has her sent over to America, where he has her in his home and he looks after her properly. And so it was quite he had quite an early harrowing life, but it definitely made a massive lasting impression on what was going to be not only his art, but it was going to be his way of life, his way of thinking. And that's kind of where this story takes you. This is what the story's about. It's about how the streets of London shaped the life of one of the most famous comedians there's ever been.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, are you lettering this yourself, or are you giving the artist to letter it? But
no, the
artwork is fantastic. I absolutely adore it. Sorry, I'm on my first one. I just got taken away because I would. No,
it's fine. The artist is called Mickey. He's actually really good friends with Carl Stefan, who wrote Mary Boys.
Oh, I love Mary Boys. That's a great book.
Carl was my first choice for the art, but he was heavily involved in Mary Boys, and he said, "But I do know someone that I think would be perfect for this." And put me in touch with one of his friends.
He did. He's fantastic. He's absolutely fantastic. Oh, so that's why Cole's doing a cover, isn't he?
Cole's cover is the one it's the runaway mine train on this campaign. It's outsold everything else.
Oh, really? I mean, let me get to it then. Which one is it?
I think you might have gone.
This is just fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic.
That's from the one shot by William Crawford Hazel, who wrote Elsa Dark.
Right.
He's doing.
Oh, this one. This is by Willie.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so sorry, Karen.
And
so which one is Cole's cover?
Cole's cover is the one on the far right.
Okay, cool. I have to tell you, I still don't know my left from right too well. Okay, I do this now, so I go, okay, that's an L, so that's supposed to be left, and I do that in my head. I really have to do that so I know which is left from right. So yeah, okay, thank you. It's a great cover.
His one is absolutely stunning. You got Vinnie Tartamella, who created Through the Woods, and City of Venus in the middle, which is the absolutely classic Charlie, really. And then you've got Donald DeLay, who is working on Bruce the Badass, and he's working on Cash Grab for Cecil. He did the little boy version.
Right, but I love the reflection of the adult Charlie, isn't it? Isn't that just wonderful? I love that. I love all of it. So I really love this book, and I tell you, this book has done so well. I'm so happy for you. So wait, there's been a one shot beforehand. I didn't know about that.
No, the one shot's with the campaign. So I wanted to tell the story between the friendship of Chaplin and Stan Laurel,
right?
Because they were friends, and in fact they stayed friends throughout their adult life as well. When they saw each other, which wasn't very often, sadly, because of their different things they were doing.
Right, they're both English, though, right?
Yep.
Right.
Oh, there's an echo. I don't know where that's coming from.
Could be me. Wait. So where's Stan Laurel from? Stan Laurel was from, I think it was from Lancashire, actually. Yeah, it sounds right. That does sound right. Yeah.
Lancashire. And they both worked for Fred Carno in Carno's the Carno company in Kensington, and they toured around the States together. And it's basically the story of how their friendship formed while traveling around these different parts of America with their craft, and how it pretty much created the two people that they would go on to be. How Stan Laurel was really wanting to be part of a comedy duo, and Chaplin wanted to be an artist in his own right, and how sort of what happens to them when they finally go off and do their own thing. So it's very much the formation of like a friendship, and how this friendship ends up, how they rub off on each other, because their style of artistry was very similar, and you see that all really started working for Carno.
I don't know. So I mean, just look at these pages. It looks like a lot of it's told in flashback, right? You have him older, and then you flash back and you see his life. Is that essentially what it is?
Sort of. So it starts in 1952. It starts on the set of Limelight. His film made in 1952, and he premiered it over here in London, which wasn't traditional for what Chaplin would do. He normally had them premiering in the States, but for this particular one, he premiered it in London. And it was a Royal Variety sort of performance where there was royal family did actually attend it. And it was while he was on the boat coming over to England that he found out that unless he went in front of the House of Un-American Activities, he was not going to be allowed back in the States.
Right. I did hear that, yes.
And he basically refused. Many people have speculated that was because he felt that he had something to hide. It wasn't. It was because he just didn't understand how he could be hounded and treated this way. And he'd done nothing. He paid his tax like a good citizen. He hadn't. The problem was he refused to give up his British citizenship. And the reason he refused to give up his British citizenship was he wanted to be knighted. So he knew that if he gave that up, he could never be knighted. And knighted, this is where all the problems started for him. So he decides, he goes to these lavish parties over here, and of course this is all weighing on his mind about what's going on. How is he going to get his assets and things out of America? Where's he going to go? If he moves to England, he's going to be having the same sort of problems, because this is the height of the Cold War. There is all sorts of things going on. So he decides he's going to take a walk around the streets of his childhood to almost confirm some sort of clarity in his mind that he's having. And that's where you go. That's where you go back. So with the idea of every different point of the streets of London he visits, you get.
Oh man, I can't wait to read this book. When's it going to be shipping, you think?
When's it going to be shipping? I'm going to put the orders in when the campaign finishes on the 16th of December. So I'm probably anticipating getting the books and everything that goes with them probably late January, early February, and I'll be fulfilling then. My plan is to have my books in everybody's hands by the 16th of April, because that was his birthday.
It'd be wonderful. It'd be absolutely wonderful. By the way, I just want to tell everybody watching, the link to this campaign is in the video notes. Please go check it out. It's absolutely wonderful. It's really, honestly, the only reason you wouldn't go and check the page is because you won't be able to stop yourself buying a copy. I would get all three covers if I was you. That would be my recommendation to you. Also, it's called Charles London's Twitter feed is there. By the way, I gotta beg you, put the campaign in your Twitter header thing, whatever it's called, because I always got to start looking for it.
Actually, I will do that. The minute I finish this stream, I will do that. I don't know why I haven't done that.
I had to go I panicked when I looked for the stream. I was like, am I going to go through IndieGoGo find something? So you said you were a history teacher. Like what age kids you teach?
Secondary school.
So what do they think of all this? Have you told them?
They can't really believe it. I mean, the campaign launched on the 16th of October, which was the first day of our half term. So they haven't seen they haven't actually seen how it's done. They just know that I'm doing it. So I'll probably talk to them when I get back into school, and I'll show it to them and whatever. But I'm hoping to get some copies in our library, which would be really cool.
That'd be lovely. Yeah, absolutely. So, by the way, are you're fulfilling it from England, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but are you using a fulfillment service, or are you doing it? So this is a practical question. I do ask practical questions because I get all my guests to help me out, because I got my campaign starting soon, and I try and mine everybody for tips. So are you having a company do it, or are you doing it yourself?
No, I'm doing it myself, and I want to do it myself because I'm just a little bit conscious that sometimes things happen with the fulfillment centres, and where you're not actually on the front line of it, you can't handle the issues.
That's very true. That is very, very true. Although, see, here's the thing. I'm trying to find a fulfillment service for the UK and for America, because shipping, if you do it just from America, shipping's a nightmare. it goes from like $10 to $30. It's just like ridiculously, yeah. So if I can get 2 fulfillment centers and then have like one big crate sent to the UK and have the rest done from the States, that's the way I would like to go. So, but you can't help me. You're doing it yourself.
No, I tell you why. So I was when I was listening to when Ethan fulfilled Blood Honey. He said he had a lot of issues with copies being sent back, and then you've got to send them again. And then there's an issue with like you've got to expect about, I think it's about 10% of your stock to get damaged. And I can't remember if he said that's from like the printing to you or the fulfillment to you or whatever. But I just thought, well, you know what? He seems to have, when we've watched him ship out Unforgettable Tales, he seems to have had such little hassle with getting them out and getting them to his customers, as opposed to when he shipped out Blood Honey. And I just thought, well, do you know what? I've got people around me that I trust that will help me. I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing. There's all the CG UK guys are like, just ask us, we'll help you. Like, you know, Carl, and then there's Commie Mark, they've done it, and Woolies fulfilled books as well. And there's so many people like Peter Gilmore who's done it many times. I just feel that I'm in a good situation where if I can save a bit of money with a fulfillment center, plus, to be fair, like I've tried to keep the postage quite reasonable. But I know
I did that was the one bit of research I did. I went to see how much the shipping was, depending on. And even to the States, it's reasonable. It's £13, which is what, about $15. That's pretty good.
I looked at I looked at different campaigns. I looked at what they were charged. I looked at the size of the books. And I just thought, well, the thing is that when you actually send something flat packed and it's the size of a large letter, the price is very reasonable. It's when you start rolling things, you add things that are in like cube shapes and all this sort of stuff, that's when the price actually goes ridiculously up.
It does, yeah.
And I just felt, well, the thing for me was if I was to have a distribution center, a fulfillment center, my customers would be paying for that. When really, if I just kept the postage as low as I possibly could, and I did it myself, and I just put a realistic, 2 months for fulfillment, which is from the February of getting the books to actually getting them out by the April. If I'm realistic, that means that I can keep the prices down for them. They'll get their book. They won't be paying, because the thing that really annoys me, and I've seen it on so many campaigns, and to me, it's falsifying the numbers, and that's what I think is annoying. You see some campaigns that end up in 6 figures, and I'd say 50% of what they're actually made has been the packaging and the postage.
Well, that's just the way it is. I mean, any campaign, about 50% of your budget goes on shipping.
No, I mean, there was a big controversy with Doug Naples' Earthworm Jim, where we got the deluxe box, but to be fair, we wasn't expecting to pay I think it worked out to be about £70 in shipping.
Wow.
But when it turned up, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful product, and don't get me wrong, it's a stylish box. But when I looked at it, I was like, right, well, that's gumph I don't need. That's gumph I didn't ask for. Like all this, there was this beautiful design on the outer packaging, and I'm like, well, we didn't ask for that. We probably would have very happily just had the books and the stuff that went inside it, just a plain brown box that would have saved us probably about £30 in shipping. And that's what I'm saying, is that I think that I am going to try and do something with the Keystone Caboodle box, which is right at the very bottom, which is the highest sort of subscription tier that I have on there. And I am in the process of trying to have some nice boxes made for them, because you get this one here, because you get everything in it that's in the campaign, plus anything new that's going to be added. The only thing that you didn't get in there was the 24-hour cover, which was Donald DeLay's cover in black and white. That was the only thing that doesn't come in there. Everything else is included in that box. So when I announce further prints, when I announce there's going to be one more variant cover, there's going to be some other little bits and pieces, everybody that's backed that box will get that automatically. So I'm hoping to be able to have some really nice boxes made for that, but at no extra cost to my backers, because that's not what I want to do. I want to try and keep it.
Well, you see that, what you're saying is pure Comicsgate, right? Just pure, like you're putting yourself in the position of the customer, which it blows me away. It blows me away how people don't want to do that, right? Like, it seems to me like, why not make your customers happy? You know, it seems like it'd be a very good thing. I love that you got a hand-drawn sketch card in this. Is that just in this tier, or is it in every tier?
It's in that tier. So you might have seen him around on Twitter, but a guy by the name of Statistical Zero. He does a lot.
Yeah, not very well. Yeah.
So Stato's doing he's doing the sketch cards. He's done some fantastic ones.
Do you have any here we can look at on the campaign?
Not on there, but if you actually go right to the bottom of the campaign, he's not only done the sketch cards, he's also done, if you go up a bit more, should be just above that. There we go. He's also done a children's book. Cool. It's going to be called The Kid Capers, and the idea is that it's a little. When we hit 20K, it's a stretch goal that everybody gets. So what it's going to be is going to be about 24 pages. We've worked it out to be, and it's all little short stories of adventures that Chaplin gets up to as the tramp with Jackie Coogan, who's the kid. So in the film, it goes from him finding the little baby, and then it has a flash to 5 years later, and Jackie Coogan's like the little cute kid that we all famously know. Right. But this book is set in between those 5 years. So it's the silly little adventures they've got up to that.
That's a wonderful idea. That's an absolutely wonderful idea. Genuine Comics is asking a good question. Why did you choose to make this a graphic novel as opposed to a standard book? It's a very interesting question. Okay.
Because there are two books that exist that I can honestly say, as both a Chaplin enthusiast and a kind of Chaplin academic, because I have done produced papers and that for the estate in big film conventions. I can say to you honestly that the two books that exist that will not be surpassed is David Robinson's Chaplin, His Life and Art, which is about 800 pages.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because he not only knew Chaplin, he got to go through the Chaplin archives before there was an archives. It was essentially a load of trunks in the basement of his house in Vevey in Switzerland, and he was able to archive all this stuff. So his book is still definitive. And the other one is Chaplin's own words, so his autobiography. There are other books that are fantastic, but I say start with those two. And the reason why I wanted to do it as a graphic novel is because in my mind, it's not. I want it to be the bridge between those books and someone that doesn't know anything about him. So I want my comic people to be able to pick it up, read it, and go, do you know what? This man is really fascinating. Now, where do I go? What do I read?
It's an absolute gateway into Chaplin. You've achieved that completely. Okay, so fan fiction number one over here. Fan fiction number one is Comics Gate. It's not a closed gate. It's open to everyone. I've got my Charlie's London's book ordered. Thank you. Well, thank you, fan fiction.
Thank you very much.
It's you're a man of taste and discernment. I can only echo your good judgment, sir. What's going to ask you? Is this going to be your only volume? Are you planning on doing more, or will you be doing?
No, I've got a contract for 3.
Oh, so, wonderful!
Yeah. So the idea is that this one ends in 19. The theme here is trips to London. That's pretty much the theme here, because throughout his life, every time he came to Europe, or every time there was something that almost traumatic that happened in his life, he went home. He literally went home. It was like this siren call. He couldn't escape. Almost having London reaffirm who he was. It was almost like that thing of like if you're really, really successful, but you go around to see your mum, and she'll always tell you if you've lost weight or put on weight, no matter what an academic you are, no matter how much money you've got, they always put you back to your, they always make you grounded. And I think with Charlie, there was the same thing. There was a thing of, he wanted that feeling of normality. So the first book ends in 1921 when he returns to London, pretty much the most famous man in the world. And it's just on the cusp of all the scandal, both professionally and personally, that's going to happen to him in the 20s and the 30s. So it's sort of the eye before the storm is the end of this book. Book 2 is going to be him making some of his most incredible films like The Gold Rush and The Great Dictator. But equally, that's when sort of the McCarthyism kicks off and the Red Scare and all the things that he experienced.
Right.
And that's going to be book 2, because in book 2 in 1931 he again returns to London, so it's going to be a very similar sort of situation. And the third book is pretty much takes you full circle to where the first one begins, up into sort of through the making of Limelight to his later years, and then going to Switzerland, and then sort of that's the end of it. But he does visit the sort of the big triumph in the end of the third book will be him getting his Oscar, and then being knighted, because he has that in sort of the last 2-3 years of his life. And then he dies, and he dies on Christmas Day, and it's very.
I had no idea. It's so fascinating.
Yeah, so it's very much. It's almost like that whole running theme of him wanting to become a knight, wanting to be recognised by his home, and going through so much because he doesn't give up his citizenship. And then it is almost like there's that old cliched saying, isn't it, of when people are coming to the end of their life, it's like they hold on to one thing, and then when they've achieved that, then they pass on. It's very like that with him. He gets recognised again by America with the Oscars, and he has still to this day the longest running standing ovation recorded in the Oscars history. 12.
And that's when the Oscars meant something, right? Yeah. It's not like today.
Yeah, and can I just take it as a good opportunity at the moment, if we're talking world records, to give a plug, the CG UK show tonight, which I believe you're on as well. We're doing world records.
We're doing world records. True.
So, oh yes, hello Stato. Stato's turn up. Just popping in on a work break to say hello. And yes, this book is totally worth it. Have a great day and a great show. Oh, thank you, Statistical Zero. That means a lot. He's like my unofficial PR department. Every morning I wake up and he's put one of the new cards and retweet my campaign again. And I'm like, oh, he's just so people like that have been so behind this project.
Well, you know what? I mean, I've just found that's overwhelmingly the case of Comicsgate. It's just people are so willing to help one another. Really, they really are. It's fabulous to see. It really. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. I am so excited that your book's done so well. I want to beat you, right? I want to make more than you, but I wouldn't make 10 times what you already made.
You should want to, because that's the point of it all. If people want to beat each other with this, it's not that they have anything against that person or.
No, we all win. It's everybody wins, right? The better you do, the better everybody does.
And also, it's the passion of it. The whole problem with the industry right now is it's really not about. They can try to deflect it however they want. They want to claim that we're this, without that. It's nothing to do with it. I didn't even notice when I stopped reading modern day comics. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, me either. It took me about 2 years after I finished reading them, stopped reading them, before I heard about any of this. Right?
It wasn't even the political agendas that were being shoved into the comics. They
were boring.
Yeah, and the artwork was so. I mean, let's face it. In the real world, people like Carl and people that have worked on my campaign, they should be being snapped up by the main industry. They should be having their fingers bitten off in order to try to get them to work on this. But they're not. They're having to crowdfund. But don't get me wrong. I don't think any of them would swap what they're doing now.
Penny, the 2020 has been the greatest thing ever for independent creators, for crowdfunding. It's just been the greatest thing ever. Yeah, I'm really happy with what's been going on.
Yeah, and I think for me it was just the artwork was where it was. There was no passion. There's literally it felt like you're given a script and then you're told have these pages done by X, Y, and Z day, and then it became mechanical. There was no love. And
right.
That's why I'm saying if we're all in it to try to beat each other, it's not that we're an absolute, pack of wild animals.
No.
There's so much passion in here. We want everyone to succeed.
Right. And what you're talking about, passion, the artwork. Just look at this page. Just look at these pages. There is so much love in every pixel. Right? It's like I'm trying to think of the smallest, the domination of spikes like that. It is so much love in just dripping out of this from your script, from the artwork. It's you can just it's some kind of sixth sense you can pick up on, and it's very apparent. So listen, this campaign's done just fantastically well. What would you put that down to?
I definitely think that a lot of it is to do with the fact that Chaplin is still very, very relevant, and I think that his story is still very, very relevant. This is a man that was born over 100 years ago. His greatest character was born over 100 years ago, but still, anything political that goes on in the world, you can almost count it down like 3, 2, 1, and someone somewhere on social media will share the speech from the great dictator. It's still to this day something that you will see more people will listen to than they will actually maybe even watch an actual political debate. Like, people will listen to that and it resonates because
it's brilliant. It's as brilliant then today as it was then. It's perhaps one of the greatest bits of filmmaking ever done. It's absolutely, it's topical, it's timeless, it's absolutely brilliant. You can't argue with it with you.
No, he was so brave, because when I watch back that film now, in the height of what was going on in Nazi Germany, he decides that he's not only going to make fun of Hitler, but he also is blatantly screaming in that film about anti-Semitism, but he's doing it in such a way that he's not even necessarily looking political. He's saying, this is not me being political, these are facts. This is what is going on.
Right. And weirdly enough, when he made it, we didn't look at the National Socialists we call in the way that we look at them today. They were looked up to by lots and lots of people. Weirdly enough, but it's just the way. So he was Jewish, wasn't he, Chaplin?
They don't know. He definitely had Romani Gypsy in his family.
Right.
And he was asked once by a news reporter in America, are you Jewish?
Right.
And he said, as far as I know, dear sir, I do not have the privilege.
Right. So I think that's something I think that might got him in trouble with the Red Scare, because that was all about hating Jews. That was not about communists at all. They said there was a Jacob who said, we're fighting a type of communism that's 2,000 years old that killed Christ. And like, what?
And actually, I tell you what I can tell you that backs up what you're saying there, and is that I've read his FBI file on that the FBI. It's in public domain now, but before when it wasn't public domain, it was still, I think the Chaplin still had a copy of it, as I think in their archives where I actually first saw it. I could be wrong, but on there they make reference that he's actually a Jewish spy, and his name is I think it was like Israel Rosenberg or something like that.
Yes, I had heard that as well. Yes, that makes sense.
And I read that, and what I actually said was, hang on, this is more anti-Semitic than it's anti-communist, and it's something that I've thought for a long time. But the thing is, as well, as like we was talking about my family background, South Londoners are such a eclectic group of people. He could have been Jewish and not. I didn't know for most of my young life that my family was Jewish. And so sort of growing up and doing the family history that I did and going back, I mean, I don't know how we never knew that my family was Jewish when my mum's great uncle was called Ezekiel Goodman. I don't know why they didn't think for one moment. I don't know why they didn't think for one moment. My auntie was called Esther Goodman. Like, come on, what more do you want, right? but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it was, again, it's down to the fact of my grandmother's maiden name was Harris, but it turns out that was Harristein, and they changed it to sound more Scottish because they were petrified about what was going to be going on in Europe. If it was going to be going on here?
Well, it's a very common story. Well, I just want to say I absolutely love this page. Is this page available as a pin-up?
It could potentially be in the future. This is page 1 of the comic.
Oh, really? It's gorgeous. It's just stunning. It really is such a, because I love the picture you have. The picture you have in the mirror. Did you script that, or what was that something the artist did?
Well, this is where Mickey's amazing, because I send him my script, and the great thing about this being an officially licensed product is that I can go in the archives and I can take pictures out and I can use them, and there's no issue. And I sort of send him photos and I send him like directions of what I want in between the dialogue. I might send a photo and then underneath I'll write, this would be great for this particular section when he's saying this. Little things like one of the panels we needed to change a bit. So he asked me, can you send me pictures of Chaplin at about this age in his life on a side view so that I can, you know, do that? And I did. But this one was a couple of images from Limelight. He told me, so I'm going to watch the film myself so I can really submerge myself. And I was like, great. And then this is actually sort of taken from a still from Limelight. And then he's just changed the angle and put him in a different set of clothes. So when I saw it, I was absolutely astounded because I knew exactly where in the film it came from.
Okay, yeah, no, because he nailed it. He's totally nailed it. So how do you get this to be an officially licensed product? What happened there? There's so many interesting stories about this book, let alone this book itself.
Right. So I've known the Chaplins for many years. I used to go to I still do go to a slapstick festival in Bristol.
Right.
And they all sort of they go there, and this festival's like for a week. And that was where I met Chaplin's biographer, David Robinson. David Robinson actually helped write the script for the Robert Downey Jr. film. He's actually in the cameo. So it's, I asked him, I said to him, like, this is when I was finding all this stuff about my family history. I actually said to him, do you think that Chaplin's sense of humour was geographical? And he looked at me and he said, no one's ever asked me that before, but that's probably because I've never spoken to someone who grew up in Kennington that's just got this love of Chaplin like you do. And I was like, I just think, you know, when I think about growing up, family parties, silly skits that my uncles and aunts would do, like, you know, when even down to playing charades, I was thinking, I just think his sense of humour is like, he's a South London boy. It's very cheeky. There's something, and London, like you know as well, London's sense of humour can be very gallows humour. There's a very sort of, I think London's humour is very different to even any other parts of the UK, let alone any other parts of the world. And he got really interested in this, and we went for a coffee, and he sort of gave me his email address and his address, and he said, like, keep in contact. And then we would email each other, write to each other. We'd meet up whenever he came to London because he lives in Bath. And we just became very, very good friends. And I ended up being part of his collegiate, which went to Bologna and Pordenone, in Italy, to do for a film festival. I had to present a paper there. I was part of a committee that was when it was the Tramps' 100th anniversary in 2014. I presented a paper there on the false accusations that he refused to fight in the First World War. It was like completely rubbish. Right. And I did, and sort of I've got to know them all through that. And I really wanted to tell his story, but I wanted to do it slightly different. And I remember every time I've spoken to anyone, so many people's point of reference is the Robert Downey Jr. film. And as much as there are things in the script that are awful, and even David says, you know, Attenborough had a vision a certain way, and the people that were working on it as researchers were like, you know, that you've kind of stretched the truth a little bit here. And he's like, yes, but this is the sort of thing that sells. So there's a lot of bits in that film where you sort of go, okay. But Robert Downey Jr. he absolutely hits it.
He knocks out the park. Again, I've only ever seen the trailer. And that trailer was incredible.
Yeah, no, he oh my God, he was the perfect choice. That even to this day, I don't think you could find somebody else. And I guess I always had this idea. I wanted to tell a story similar to that, but I wanted to be really historically accurate. So I started getting involved in CG, and then I just kept thinking to myself, I really, really want to do this book. So I just approached them with the idea. I've sent them a business plan of like different crowdfunding books and how, you know, this is how it works. And they just came back to me and they said, yeah, okay. They let me like draw up my contract, and then what I wanted to do. And then they okayed it. They obviously made their changes, and the rest is history. And here I am. So it's been pretty amazing.
Right. Yeah. No. It's been yeah, absolutely incredible. Let's talk about the campaign, the different tiers. So you got this one. We have all three covers. That's so you get 2 prints. Is that correct?
You now get 3 prints because
really? Okay.
The reason being is that I left 2 for a reason. and that was if we managed to get funded with the 10,000, the print that was actually added was Carl Stefan's cover as a print.
Right.
So that's the one that is now. So you get all 3 covers and all 3 prints of the covers now. So you almost get like a complete set. But the reason that one wasn't on there was I'd already had it in my head. It was a stretch goal. So it was a nice little added incentive to the people that backed the 3 covers. They were then going to automatically.
Well, yeah. Again, that's really something I love about crowdfunding. You back something, and then by the time you get it, it's like, well, there's so much more stuff. And you don't pay any more. It's great. Oh yeah, so then you have like the 3 individual covers. £19 this book. How many pages is this book? It's a 64-page graphic novel. Is it hardback or softback?
It's going to be perfect bound.
Perfect bound, lovely. Okay, right. So 64. So 64, is that story pages or is that total?
No, 64 is the story pages.
Oh wow! So there's more stuff in it as well.
Yeah, there's going to be. I'm going to be advertising it from tomorrow. But now we've hit the $30,000 stretch goal. There's a fan art competition, and everybody that submits, I'm going to pick 3 that are the best. They're going to go in the back of the book with the thank you pages, and then I'm going to write a small essay. It's going to go in the back there as well. And so it's going to be if you come first place, you'll win one of the caboodle packages.
Right.
If come second place, you'll win the 3 covers package, and if you come third place, you'll win a cover of your choice and the Stan one shot. So that's what I'm doing. That's a competition that I'm launching from tomorrow.
So the Charlie and Stan, is that a separate book?
Yeah.
Wow. So okay, fine. So is there a bundle where you get both books? Was it from East Lane to Limelight and Charlie and Stan?
No, but what you can do is that you can actually add it on.
Right.
You can add it on to any of the packages you buy, and then the postage is vastly reduced.
Oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So the Charlie and Stan, this is a new book, or is this book that you had before?
No, this is new. Everything on this campaign is new, and the reason why I didn't do a tier was with the one shot and the cover was because the one thing that I've learned from these campaigns is if you have way too many tiers, it really confuses people. So what I did was I just had that you could have the one shot on there at reduced price, because otherwise I would have had to have the one shot and Vinny's cover, the one shot and Donald's cover, the one shot and Carl's cover, and then people get messages from people going, but I want this, and then I want this, and then I want that. So it just made it very much more sense. I think the postage on all of them, all of the add-ons, is 50% off. So for example, I think it's £13 which is about $18. I think for you to actually get the book and the prints and any of the add-ons, because don't forget, even if you buy the one individual book, you're still now going to get Statistical Zeros one shot. You still get the prints. There's still a sticker. There's quite a lot in that package. And then you can add on the one shot for I think it's another $6 or $7. So it's just trying to keep that postage low, but still everybody's getting everything that they've backed.
Right, I understand. Well, is this the same tier as the one above, the 3 international internet?
The reason being is I don't know what happened on the day that I set it up, and I've spoken to other people, and this has happened to them. When I put this all together, for some reason, it put United States as everywhere else, as in everywhere else in the world. So I had to go back. I couldn't edit it once people had started buying it. So I then had to just create another tier, which was Europe, the UK, and America. This is the pack you get, and it's worked out quite well. And it hasn't caused much. Well, actually, it hasn't caused any confusion. People were actually messaging me saying thank you for going on and doing this, because otherwise I wasn't able to back. It sort of completely at one point shut out anyone that wanted to buy from Australia. So that's all that pack is. It's nothing else. It's just that there's the 2. I think it was the one shot and the featured tier for some reason just weren't coming in doing the international. So I just had to create them again for international. That was all.
Okay. And this one, the Keystone Kit and Caboodle thing. I tell you, You sold 55 of these. That's incredible. I'm so thrilled for you then. So I want to go through this one because it's a great thing. You get the sketch card, right? You get the includes exclusive perks. What's that?
So that will be anything that gets added to the campaign that you have to pay for separately. That will automatically be in there.
Right, and you got a Billy Tucci pin-up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that on the campaign page anywhere, or is that
not yet? Billy's working on it, so the minute I get it, it will go on there.
Right, so you get the Stan and Laurel one shot plus all 3 covers. Then what's the Chaplin Carno's Army patch?
There's I'm having sew-on patches worked on that have got the logo for Fred Carno's the Carno Circus. So it's basically just a really nice little add-on that you'll be part of the Carno Army. Is that what they used to call each other?
And what's the print set package?
So it's going to be all the prints that come as not only for the featured tier, but any ones that have been added. And there's also going to be 3 prints that are going to be exclusive to that, which is going to be actually drawings done by me. Excellent. One of them's actually on this campaign. It was the 5K stretch goal. So when we hit the 5K, I think it's down. I can't actually remember where it is now. I think it's below this, below the covers bit. But you'll get there. Yeah, so that's it. That's my one.
Well, it's very nice. Very nice. It's very cool. I tell you, I just love this. I am. Whose is this one?
6 a.m. Comics. So that's his sticker that he's created for my campaign as well. So it's meant to be a little me. Well, I say little me. It's probably about the right height, to be fair. And
okay.
And well, actually, no, it probably isn't to scale because, I don't know. I'm 5 foot exactly. Chaplin was 5'5.5". So maybe I'd be a tiny bit taller. Maybe just
you'll come up to his ear at least.
But yeah, I love that one. It makes me laugh. That's the print of the Carl Stefan cover, which was the 10K stretch goal.
So how many pages are completed for this so far?
At the moment, I think it's about 6 or 7.
Right.
But the artist that I'm working with, he's actually was working on other projects until about 3-4 weeks ago. So he's very quick and he's very, very good. So I anticipate that by the time I've finished my campaign on 16th of December, he would have finished this easily.
Wonderful. I tell you, it's so fantastic seeing those pages come in, right? When they're in your inbox and they better than you imagine them, right? I bet, yes, absolutely fantastic. So again, the link is in the notes below. Please, everybody, click the link. Are you going on like a Charlie Chaplin podcast? I'm assuming there's Chaplin fandom and Chaplin YouTube channel.
Yeah. I'm in the process of talking to them about things. I'm sort of this last week just gone and the week coming up. I've tried to sort of push much more my American market and the CG market purely because I'm on half term. So when it goes to sort of back to my normal day life, I can do the UK streams a lot easier because I can say to them, do you want to do something at 6 o'clock in the evening? And 6 o'clock in the evening for them is 6 o'clock in the evening for me.
Right. See, absolutely. Well, you see that, that's the trouble for me. I'm 2 hours, ahead of you, and I'm like 7 hours ahead of America. And so I'm doing my sign up and starting in about a week from now. And so when the campaign starts, I'm sleeping at the weirdest times.
Yeah,
I mean, how did you get to launch the campaign on Ethan's stream?
Well, he's always been massively supportive of the project. I've always been in and out of his his chat. I'm very vocal on his chat. I tweet him a lot, and I think I just sort of I've just always been I have this habit, and I don't do it intentionally. It's just part of my personality. Stencil artist Jan says, like my other half says it to me all the time. He says, you don't ever just walk in somewhere, you kick the door down. He said,
listen, look, you're certainly a presence. You're certainly a presence in the room. And
I don't. And the thing is, though, I'm very much one of these people that I'm quite proud of this. I don't sort of go somewhere and make it all about me. I'm a foghorn for everybody, and I think that that's something that I've done a lot with CG UK as well. Is that I've very much been a big advocate for it, and I am very privileged, and I get on a lot of these big streams, and you know, I think the world of Ethan. He's been fantastic to me. I've always, even before involvement with Comicsgate, I always used to read the books that he worked on. I've always loved his artwork. And I think just because I've always been consistent, I've been positive, I've been loyal, I've never got involved in any real drama. I've always tried to stay professional. And I think one of the reasons why they embrace me the way they do, and they're so positive to me as I am to them, because I just want this thing to succeed. I just want this horrible negativity that people assume and associate with Comicsgate to disappear. I want it to be something that's seen to be, actually, no, it's not. This is not a dark corner of the internet that we all
absolutely. This is what's right about the internet. This is what's right about comics. You know, it's not the problem. It's the absolute opposite. You are 100% right. And I think, you know what? I just think, you know, it's your basic. I'm going to say goodness, and for want of a better word, that I think it's just shining through. You know, I think that's why people connect to you. Because
that really means a lot, because that's all I've done. I mean, the thing is with I actually didn't want to ask Ethan, because I just felt that he has his own projects that he's promoting. He has his own thing. He's always incredibly busy, and I you know, I remember him saying once before, build up your channel, build up your platform, do it. And that's what I did. But it was, I just put a message out there and was like, if anyone would really kindly have me on their shows when I launch, that'd be fantastic. And he just reached out and he said, do you want to launch on mine? And I was like, are you sure? And he said, yeah.
Again, this is just like, you know, the basic goodness of between people. You know, like, yeah, Ethan doesn't need to help anyone. You know, no. He absolutely doesn't, and like he keeps having these people on his streams and promoting them, and you know, I've got so much respect for him, so much respect. Because like, again, he could just like not care about anybody else, but I think one of the reasons he succeeds so well is because he does. I think he's very, very genuine, you know, and also his channel's fantastic. I love listening to his streams. They're just pleasant to listen to.
He's brilliant. I mean, and the thing is with him is he loves. I first spoke to him about this book back in December. He did what I call an open house stream, where he just dropped the StreamYard link in the chat, and he was literally just having people on. And I'd been super chatting him, and I'd been like sending the tweets on Twitter to him and stuff by then, so he knew who I was. And then when he got to speak to me, he asked me why Charlie's London, and I said, well, actually, my Twitter was always set up because I go around Charlie's London. I used to blog about it a lot, like the different parts of London that still exist for inspiration for his films and all this stuff. And he was like, oh my God, I love silent films. And weirdly, as he'd been drawing that day, he'd watched A Dog's Life, which is a Chaplin film.
Wow, yeah,
and he became just like really interested in his project. And my mum will not let me live this down, right? When I've got my license, I didn't even phone my mum. I DM'd him first.
Okay, well, there you go. He had to have you on the stream then, you know. I don't think that's you know, higher was approbations what I was looking for.
Well, I think, you know, a lot of people have said to me, we see this as a really important book because, you know, it's an officially licensed IP.
Right.
The person that you are completely and utterly changes the dynamic of what the outside world try to say that CG is. And I think that's really positive, because I want my book to be seen on its own as well as being this incredible thing, but I do want it to also be seen as, look, at the end of the day, Chaplin was anti-cancel culture. He was the epitome of someone trying to cancel him. So if his story is going to resonate with anyone, it makes it makes perfect sense to me that people who have in their career felt like they've been cancelled would naturally gravitate to a story like Chaplin's. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, you're like overcoming it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely. Listen, this book looks fantastic. So how much longer the campaign's got? About 16th of December it finishes, so it's got a month and a bit.
Right? Yeah, it's 52 days. It will stay. I'm going to keep it in demand until book 2 launches.
Right.
And I already know that for my second campaign, I will have a bundle, like John Mayland does, where he has a bundle where it's like book 1 and book 2.
Yeah, smart.
I will do something similar to that. But the great thing is about, working with Chaplin, like I cannot thank them enough for the things they've done. But is that the license I've got is I'm not restricted to IndieGoGo. I can sell it if I wanted to go to Comic Cons, or I wanted to even ask local bookshops if they wanted to have it in there. I can do that.
Right.
So I've got complete and utter control over my own project, which is this. So as much as obviously it's their IP, they've given me so much flexibility with this. I cannot thank them enough.
Well, I think you're doing them a great service. Honestly, I really do. This is something that's going to raise. Not that Charlie Chaplin needs his profile raised, but this is just such a great project for somebody who loves Chaplin. I mean, your love for it just shines through. I love these pages by who did these pages?
Those are Statistical Zero.
Oh, really? It's so much fun. I love it. Absolutely love it.
He's done them as a silent film, so there are going to be.
Right.
But
oh, fine. So this is the bonus thing. Fantastic. So listen, I want to tell everybody right now, please go back this project. It's in the notes. Listen, honestly, I was gonna say go for the 3 covers. The 3 covers seems good, but this kit and caboodle pack, this Keystone kit and caboodle pack, that is fan-freaking-tastic. If you got the extra cash for that, I would say that's probably an investment more than anything else. There's so much stuff there that's going to be so collectible, especially to Chaplin fans. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if you buy that and then you take out a copy to read, obviously for yourself, and then pack away anything that you can bear to live without, and then 20 years from now, sell it. Your kids are going to college. You do it. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. And you get a Chaplin collector will be ecstatic with this, exclusive, wonderful thing. So yeah, listen, the notes. So click the link right now. Go check it out. It's absolutely wonderful. Osha, is there anything else you would like to add in?
I would just like to say thank you for having me. Go and have a look at the any of the other CG UK projects, because as much as I end up on all these fantastic streams, and as much as I am privileged and feel very humble every single day to be part of a network such as, going on John Mayland's and Ethan's and Cecil's and all these amazing people, I can never forget where I started, which was with CG UK. So the likes of Cole and the likes of Commie Mark, Peter Gilmore, Captain F-Head, obviously Stencil Artist Jan. So go and check out their channels, go and check out their projects. Elsa Dark, Werewolves and Vampires is launching this week.
Oh, that looks fantastic. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. I love all of Willie's stuff as well. And
exactly. Look, Cole's got his mailing list up for the second instalment of Mary Boys. Which, as far as I know from speaking to Cole, you don't even necessarily have had to read the first one. It's standalone stories to do with Mary Boys, but why would you not want to get the first one?
You know what? Actually, Mary Boys is one of my favorite books I've read this year.
Yeah,
it's a great book.
Commie Mark's got his Not Daredevil mailing list is up. So yeah, just
that looks crazy. That looks so much fun. I did like his other book as well. Was it the Adventures of Kim Jong, whatever it was. It was so crazy. Yeah, he was on my channel like a few days ago. He's a fun guest. We're on his stream tonight, right? 10 o'clock tonight, CG UK.
You're on the CG UK stream tonight. So tonight Mark's hosting. We flip between channels. So next week it's me. This week it's Mark. We're doing a Guinness World Records special. Yeah, so come and check us out. We're all mad. Like we always say, we're not separate to CG. We're part of CG. We're just on a UK time scale. So come and have a look at us.
That's exactly what it is. That's good. So I have to tell you, StreamYard. StreamYard is the website I use to stream these things. This is a site that Charlie Chaplin would not like. He would not like. You know why he wouldn't like it? Because there's a button here called End Stream, and I click it, and it says, "Are you sure? Are you sure, Charlie Chaplin? He will be incensed. He will be incensed." Of course, I clicked it. So therefore, I'm sure it has to end. So I clicked it, and it's asked me if sure. I'm going to say I'm sure because again, I'm much like Chaplin. I'd be very firm in my decisions. I'm going to click the second button, and now there's